So here we go. The video I've been telling everybody I'm gonna make for a while now. And look, I know the title's a little heavy, but all of that will be explained soon because this is something that needs to be addressed. This is something that has been boiling over for quite a while now because, as you might have guessed it, even though we're gonna talk about Demon Slayer, we're also gonna talk about issues we've had in Storm and just the Cyber Connect community in general. So yeah, Mo Hayate here. Despite the title, I am not here to diss anyone. I'm just simply here to explain my side of the story, since I've been having a hard time doing that since I wasn't really giving the due process to do that. So with that being said, I'm here to explain my side of the story professionally, not here to diss anyone, not here to have an outburst. Others besides my fans would like to see that, but that's not what we're here for. We're here to clear things up because things have been getting messy for quite a while now, and this needed to happen a long time ago. And I've been putting it off because I don't enjoy making this kind of video. I don't enjoy having this kind of drama, but this is something that has finally reached a point where it has to be addressed. So let's go ahead and talk about why the title is what it is, why I said Senju in Japan lied, and what happened between me and him, what happened between me and the Demon Slayer community, what was going on before that, what we're doing here, and what our mission is, and how we feel about this. Basically, this is going to be a long video, but it's going to explain and answer everything you've ever wanted to know about our situation and about the Naruto Fatal series and about why this is happening. And it's really sad that it's come to this. It's sad that this is happening, but here we are. A lot of people are trying to blame me for it. I've been getting a lot of criticism in the community lately, but a lot of that criticism is coming from people who haven't really researched the situation or even know who I am or care to know. They're simply following the leader about their opinion about a person they don't even know at all, despite not knowing the situation. So, I'm not here to take any more criticism. I don't care how people interpret this video. I really don't. I'm just here to say my side of the story, explain the truth and the dark truth going on with Senju in Japan and his Discord server. And whatever opinions you have about that, you can talk with each other about it in that server. I could really care less since I'm not allowed in there, and I'm gonna explain all of that in a minute. But yeah, I don't care. I'm turning off the comments. I'm turning off the likes. I could really care less anymore about this. I'm trying to move on and do what's best for the community and for myself. And if I can't do what's best for the community because the community refuses it, then I'm moving on what's best for myself. And I'm also paying respects to the game and the game creators. I'm not going to just ditch the game or, stop doing this as much as a lot of people would like me to, just because of what's going on. Like, at the end of the day, we have legit content that we were supposed to release, that we are going to release, and we're just not gonna let people. We're gonna talk about that later. Let's just get started with this whole thing because I'm getting really tired of it. It's getting really frustrating. It is appalling and amazing and really disgusting how apathetic and hypocritical and contradictory a lot of these accusations and attacks towards me and the Naruto Fatal series have been happening, because people forget I'm not the only one involved in this year-long project that we've been working on. A lot of people were also involved, and they're getting unfairly treated because of this. And I do feel bad because it did start out with a personal problem with me, and I dragged them into this. So I am sorry about that, but I'm going to explain why Senju in Japan lied, why I'm having the outbursts that I am in YouTube, and this video is gonna mostly be focusing on 3 people. It's gonna be a long video. You're gonna wanna stick around to see how we settle this. So the 3 people in question are Senju in Japan, Mr. Perfect Record, and now Trader. So even though I might name drop other people in this video, these will be the 3 people I will be focusing on the most. So first, let's talk about what started this. Let's go all the way back to the beginning. And look, I'm not taking any sides here. Unlike Senju and Mr. Perfect Record, I'm going to release the whole story, including where I fucked up in this whole thing, because I did make a mistake. But at the end of the day, whatever mistakes I made in this whole situation pale in comparison to what other mistakes people made, especially Perfect Record and Senju in Japan, on handling the situation. I'm not justifying what I did, but at the same time, people are not paying attention to the mistakes they did in this whole situation, because everybody made a mistake in this whole situation. Things got messy and everybody here is guilty. And if we're going to weigh who messed up the most here, I would like to argue that my blame here, my share of the blame, is the least amount out of everybody around me. But let me explain why that is. So let's go back to the beginning of why this happened and why we're at this tense circumstance between each other. Because to be fair, I didn't want any of this to happen, but it's happening because I cannot move on from it because people are not allowing me to. So I have to defend myself. People expect me to just be quiet about this, and especially Trader, and it's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen at all. So let's talk about why I got banned from the Discord server and why I'm having an outburst about it, because it's very important that people know the truth. And I know Perfect Record and Senju have their own version of the story, but I'm telling you right now, it's not the whole truth. This is. When I first ran into the Discord server for the Demon Slayer game, back then, 6 months, it was only about several hundred members big. It was very, very tiny. At the time, I was doing the Naruto Fatal series, which was a tournament, a year-long tournament for the Storm 4 video game. So with that being said, at the time, I wasn't really invested in Demon Slayer. I wasn't even really familiar with the anime that much, to be completely honest. At first, I kind of had like an iffy outlook on it. I didn't know how to, perceive it. But then I gave the anime a shot, and I liked what I saw. But back then, I was in the server while it was small. And at the time, the leaders of the server and the members there were just starting out, just like me. And at the time, I had Dark Phoenix as a moderator at my server and at theirs. Now, Dark Phoenix at first came with open arms, but then I don't know what happened, but things got a little tense between us, and even though I tried to make him a moderator in my server, things didn't work out, and he ended up leaving. I decided to leave. I guess I'm just gonna say I decided to leave. I wasn't really invested or interested in the Demon Slayer server back then, so I just decided to go, I guess. I haven't really said anything or been active in that server ever since. Fast forward to last month. We were doing a collaboration with Shin no Henka, who are no longer here for understandable reasons, but it's whatever. It's can't be helped. But that's another conversation for later. But we were doing a collaboration event with them, who, they're an event organizer group, and we were trying to promote a great event for Storm 4, and it was going good, and we were trying to figure out how to get more people. That's when we ran into Perfect Record. Now, at the time, things were going smooth. We were talking about how we're going to promote people, what our plans are, how we're going to go about production, and it seemed like the perfect trio. It seemed like we were really excited to work with Senju and Perfect Record at the time, and it seemed like it was going to be the perfect operation to promote Storm 4 and try to revive it a little bit. At the same time, try to promote the Demon Slayer game. Hence, the Storm 4 Road to Demon Slayer teaser and trailer and event that I've been trying to promote on my own now since this whole thing went down. So with that being said, things were going okay until I decided to make my return after all these months to the Demon Slayer server. But I couldn't do that because somehow, some way, even though I never had any interactions with anyone in that server except for Dark Phoenix, somehow I was banned. So I messaged Perfect Record, "Hey, Perfect Record, what's going on, man? I thought we were working together. I thought we were cool. Why am I banned from a server I was never active in?" To be fair, at first he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry that happened. Let's look into it. Give me a few hours. I'll go home and look into it, and I'll go ahead and unban you now." And he does that. Now, this is where I messed up. But again, remember, if you're just a Senju stan, and if you're just trying to find some way to, pin this whole thing on me and end it right there, if you're gonna stop after I point out what I did, rather than hear out the rest of the story and hear out why in the long run my reaction was justified. It wasn't justified at first, but as the whole situation escalated, it became justified. If you're gonna shut off after I tell you what I did wrong, then you're not trying to hear the whole side of the story. You're being very contradictory yourself. You need to hear the whole side of the story, because again, we all made mistakes, and it's important that all of that is recognized. So let me go back to the story again. This is where I messed up. I tried to call out Dark Phoenix. Now, I couldn't prove that it was Dark Phoenix that banned me, but I also couldn't think of any other possible reason that I could be banned, considering I didn't know Senju at the time or had any interactions with any of the moderators back then. So with that being said, I made the mistake of, well, I wouldn't say it's a mistake yet, but the way I worded it wasn't exactly the best way I could have done. I basically went in the chat and I tried to call out the moderator who banned me. I was like, hey, whoever banned me, you're gonna pay for this. This is not cool. You can't just ban an event organizer for no reason. That's when the chat descended into chaos. Without trying to figure out what's going on or ask me what the hell was happening, they just suddenly attacked me for trying to call out the moderator who banned me, who was most likely Dark Phoenix, who Mr. Perfect Record himself pointed out that he is only 15 and should not be worthy of being a moderator. He's had a history of being a bad moderator, and proof of that is the fact that he admitted it, and that I had to kick him out of my server from being a moderator, and even in other servers he didn't have a good reputation as a moderator. He is a 15-year-old kid after all, who's supposed to be in charge of a server that's 5,000 members big. Like, what is going on here? And considering his bad history, I'm surprised he is still a moderator. But anyways, regardless, I didn't name drop anyone. I just tried to call out whoever banned me. The chat descended into chaos. A moderator named Sabito had to step in and try to calm things down. Well, he deleted everything I said, deleted everything they said, and then he tried to pin the blame on me for stirring things up. I explained to him that there was a moderator who shouldn't have banned me, and that Perfect Record was trying to look into it. Now, I know the way I reacted to him and the way I reacted to the whole unjustified ban was not the best way I should have reacted. In hindsight, I do need to have a longer fuse, but the reason I have a short fuse in this whole Cyber Connect genre throughout this whole thing, since I started this whole thing, is for very good reasons, and I'm gonna get into that later when we talk about Storm. But things weren't always this way with me. Again, not justifying what I did. I wish I would have reacted a little bit better back then, but again, it also doesn't justify how they overreacted to it, and then even took it a step further into a much worse place. And I will get to that in just a second, because again, I'm not the only one that made a mistake here. So Sabito, even though I was a little aggressive about it, I was like, how dare they, act toxic to me and ban me for no reason. You need to find out who did this, like really, really fast. You need to figure out who did it, because this is ridiculous. I'm trying to promote an event here. You can't just do this. And while we're at it, let's talk about what people perceive to be the definition of toxicity, because a lot of people out there are using that word a little too loosely. Toxicity, from what I can see from the way the community is acting, since this is such a subjective term now, is when somebody disrupts the peace and the harmony the community has without empathy. And I did do that at that day. I was toxic for that one situation, but that was the only time in this whole year that I've been operating in this whole community. In this whole year I've been operating in this whole genre that I've ever had to do with toxicity. And it wasn't something that I instigated, it was a reaction. So yes, I was toxic for that one moment, but as I explain how they react to it and what they do and how they lied, you're gonna realize that, hey, maybe I had a hunch that they were never planning on keeping me in the server in the first place. So regardless of whether I handled the situation professionally or not, they were going to kick me out, and I'm going to explain how that's the case in just a second. But going back to the definition of toxicity, I'm not toxic. I spent money to make non-profit events for the community, for both Demon Slayer and Naruto, and everything CyberConnect has been doing in the last 4 years. So, even though I'm late to the game, and I know that seems to be everybody's excuse, also another reason why people want me to leave, it's just pretty obvious that there are powers that be that don't want new content creators in this whole thing. But anyways, that's a whole other conversation for later, but which we will get to. But even though I'm late and it's only been a year, I did invest into a non-profit event and I paid money for it. And it's not just that, I put in passion and I put in love for that community. I'm not toxic. When I'm frustrated and having a personal issue with another content creator or another community leader, that's not toxicity. At that point, that word is subjective, because their definition of toxicity, the community's definition of toxicity, is anyone who goes against Senju in Japan, not anyone who disrupts the community. Even though that situation at that given moment was a toxic situation, coming from all sides, by the way, Dark Phoenix, who also was very, very toxic in the chat, and the people in the chat, and me, even though everybody was toxic in that situation, simply calling me toxic in general is unacceptable. That it means nothing. It's just people who are calling me toxic are people who are following Senju, who happen to know I'm not having a good day with Senju, because all they care about is supporting Senju without figuring out what happened, what the context is to the story, and are just like, they're using the word so loosely. It's kind of hypocritical considering their reactions have been very toxic itself. So with that being said, Sabito, after promising he will fix the issue without any word, suddenly bans me again. Now at this point, it's a huge problem. I talked to Perfect Record, and he says, I don't like the way you reacted to this. I don't like the way you tried to figure out who the mod was. And I was like, okay, well, that doesn't make any sense considering my reaction was justified. It was justified as far as, you know, not being told what's going on and getting toxicity from the moderators. But it wasn't justified as far as the way I worded it. But if everybody's going to focus on the way I worded it rather than the bigger problem at hand here, then that just proves everything I'm talking about right. That everyone's contradictory and hypocritical. Everybody's one-sided and not hearing the other side of the story. With that being said, I told him, okay, I might have overreacted there, but at the same time, the chat also overreacted. Sabito promised he was going to fix the situation, and the next thing I know, I'm just banned. I thought we were working on an event together here. I thought we were going to promote something great. What happened, Perfect Record? Basically, we had a long conversation about it. I don't have the screenshots for it because I'm no longer allowed in that server. What it boils down to is that because I tried to figure out who the moderator was who banned me for no reason, I got banned. And at this point, I was not looking up to Senju like I used to. I used to be a fan of Senju until this happened, because he's supposed to be a leader of a server along with Perfect Record that is supposed to promote uniting everybody together. Yet they're denying me due process. They're not allowing me back in the server for the simple fact that I reacted to the fact that the moderator, who was not supposed to even be a moderator, as Perfect Record admitted, decided to ban me. And their excuse is I was toxic, when who are they to decide who's toxic and who's not? They didn't look, it doesn't matter to them how much effort I put in to try to please the community. They branded me toxic, and because they have the higher following, there I was now considered toxic. I wonder how things would have turned out if I would have had the bigger following, if I would have had more views. So we tried to have a long conversation about how that is unfair, along with Shin no Henka. Shin no Henka doesn't like situations, so they pull out. No, but before they pull out, let me get to what happened before they pulled out. Before they pulled out, we came to an understanding that things were tense in the server. That even though we don't know who the moderator is who banned me, who's not supposed to ban me, again, according to Perfect Record and everyone and me, the first time, because again, remember, the first time I was not supposed to be banned. The second time I got banned according to them because I was reacting the way I should to an unjustified ban. Now, I was being a little bit aggressive about it, but I was also defending myself from a toxic chat. So, speaking of a server that claims that it is not toxic, it sure has a lot of toxic people chatting in there. But also at the same time, the leaders and the moderators of that Discord seem to be a lot like banning anybody so much as they breathe wrong. So it's not like the moderating team is any better than, you know, some of the people there, because there's a lot of cool people there that I didn't get a chance to interact with due to the toxicity that was piling up in there. So with that being said, we had a long conversation and we came to an agreement that if I made a second account, that I can come back into the server and continue as usual and just forget about this. When I confronted Senju in Japan on YouTube because he does not allow DMs in Discord, he told me without any due process or even investigating the situation that his moderator team never fails to ban people for the right reason, which was clearly not the case considering even Perfect Record claimed that I was not supposed to be banned the first time. It gets crazier. This is just the beginning. So after we came to an agreement that I was supposed to make a second account, which by the way, at first I did not agree to because I didn't see the reason why I should have, and it doesn't make any sense if it means I can just go back with a second account. Clearly this was a move to try to demean my main account and my persona online because their plan is to try to bring me down rather than unite me with a community that I'm trying to promote merchandise and free money for. So who's the one stirring up toxicity now? But we'll get to that in just a second. Let's continue with this crazy situation that happened because this is not, I'm pretty sure this is not what they told you. I'm pretty sure they did not give you the full story here. And this is why we're going on 23 minutes with this whole thing. Or however long after I edit it. At the end of the day, they did not give you the whole story. So let's go back to the agreement we made. Before I agreed to make a second account, I didn't see the point why I should agree to that. But then, for some odd reason, when I went, checked the server link and I clicked on it, I was able to get back in. I told Perfect Record this and I was like, you know what? They didn't ban me. They must have just kicked me, so I must be okay. I'm just going to go back in. Let's just move on. Let's let things settle down and let's hopefully make things better from here. He was like, okay, all right, sounds good. And we called it a night that day after having a 5-hour meeting on how to solve this very big issue. Like, I don't understand why people are quick to call others toxic, including me, when we had hours of conversation about this and we treat the matter very seriously. You can't just call everybody that doesn't agree with you or you don't like toxic when these people have also invested their heart and soul into the community. And who are you to say that? Who are you to judge people like that? Well, in that basis, anybody is toxic. Everybody is toxic. I could argue with that kind of logic, everybody, and I mean everybody is toxic. So, back to the story. I thought I was good. I was back in the server with my main account. I thought we were okay. Perfect Record was under the impression that we were okay. Next day, I'm banned again. I don't understand why. I didn't have any interactions at all since I've returned to the server. I've just been trying to let things quiet down. I messaged Perfect Record and he basically said, oh, well, you weren't supposed to be kicked. They meant to click the ban button, but you ended up getting kicked instead. I was like, how is this my problem? You gave me the impression that we were supposed to be okay at this point, that I can come back with my main account. We can finally move on from this. And talk about holding a grudge. Seriously, this is a huge misunderstanding. You know your moderators messed up twice now. Banned me twice in a way they shouldn't have, and yet you refuse to give me any due process or do anything to punish them for that, and I'm the one that's getting penalized for this whole thing. He had no explanation to that. He just kept feeding me the same lines. Your reaction was toxic. Your reaction was toxic. You shouldn't have reacted. That's his only excuse for this whole thing, which at this point is starting to bear less and less weight. How much are you going to punish one guy for a mistake that's not even really a mistake? It's a reaction that he deserved, especially when you're clearly lying to him, because that was a lie. They lied to me about being allowed back in the server. So I was like, okay, what is going on here? Things at this point escalate. Perfect Record cuts me off from the conversation, so I no longer can tell my side of the story or try to explain what's going on. And I decide, okay, let me just try to move on from this and make a second account. Shinno Henka at this point has walked out of the collaboration. I was going to handle everything on my own and try to patch this all up on my own. Senju in Japan himself said if I make a second account, not just Perfect Record, that I can come back. And since that's their excuse, I'll just swallow my pride, make a second account, and come back. And that's what I did. Now, I didn't bother hiding myself because I've got nothing to hide here. Despite all the negative reputation that they built against me unfairly. But I came back, I tried to have a positive note. Dark Phoenix, of course, was always lurking there. He pointed me out. And you can see in the DMs, the only screenshots I was able to get before I was banned for one last time. You can see in the DMs that I was just trying to finally patch things over and calm things down and move on. And I was trying to see if Senju will live up to his promise along with Perfect Record. I was promised that I can make a second account and come back. A few minutes later, after my conversation with Dark Phoenix there that you see, I get banned again without any explanation. And at this time I have no way to defend myself or talk about what happened. But on top of all that, I'm getting also negative reviews for trying to promote a Demon Slayer event for the Demon Slayer community. More than $600 and $700 of non-profit prizes for the community. I'm getting negative reactions for trying to support the community because of what Senju in Japan and Perfect Record made me out to be. And on top of all that, their followers and supporters have been commenting negative comments, trying to basically disrupt everything I've been trying to do for the community, while at the same time trying to preach that I'm the one that's toxic. As if kicking me out and giving me a bad reputation I don't deserve wasn't bad enough, and then lying to me and trying to seem like you're uniting the community when you're really not. As if all of that was not bad enough, now you're sending your minions after me, Senju. What the hell, man? You have such a cult-like following, and you never gave me due process. You never had a private conversation with me, because this is aimed at you now. I'm talking to you, Senju. You never had a private conversation with me. You never actually bothered to figure out what was going on. Perfect Record admitted Dark Phoenix was not fit to be a moderator. Dark, by the way, a moderator who calls people names. Like, who's the bitch now? Like, who a moderator who's 15 years old of a 5,000 member Discord who calls people names, and after admitting that he is unfit to be a moderator by one of the biggest leaders there, he's still moderating and still not punished for what he did. And you wonder why there is fights about, demons versus mode and toxicity going on in the community. You wonder why things are getting a little tense. You reap what you sow. I did. I owned up to my mistakes, and I got screwed over. I got lied to by a community I was trying to support for absolutely no reason, and branded toxic when all I was trying to do was just be included. Well, I don't care anymore. Like, I'm not going to sit here and take these accusations, and I'm not going to stop any projects I was trying to do. I know that a lot of people would like that, for the simple fact that this is happening. Everything is going as planned. Everything, even if it fails or succeeds. But at the end of the day, if it fails, it really is the community's loss. Senju in Japan refused to give me due process. It does not explain why his followers keep attacking me out of the blue. My outbursts on YouTube are my only way of defending myself and having a voice in this whole situation, because I was banned from everything else. Meanwhile, Perfect Record and Senju are spreading lies about what happened in this story. Perfect Record even banned me from his PlayStation Storm Discord because we were having a conversation that was a little tense, but it ironed itself out and we ended up having a great time. But according to him, from his point of view, it was toxic. So he ended up kicking me because of it, because anything that so much as breathes or moves wrong against Perfect Record or Senju is banned. They don't care about the uniting the community. They don't care about fixing old problems. They don't have no respect for other content creators who gave them that respect and invested in the community just as much as they did. And they refuse to be, they refuse to do what's fair and give players their due process and explain what happened in order to move on and make things better. I'm not saying I hope the game fails, but I wouldn't be surprised if it did, considering everything that's been going on so far. And they continue to do this, which is why I'm making this video. And I'm hoping this is the only video I get to make about this, but, that's really up to them. All I wanted was to be included in this whole thing and to promote the events. I have all this merchandise sitting for the Demon Slayer community that they're missing out on, not me. And by the way, even though I got refunded and compensated on everything I lost from Stormfort Road to Demon Slayer, the fact of the matter is the other people who are on the production, they don't get compensated. They have to live with that loss. What do they have to do with this? Why do they get punished? How is it not hypocritical that you brand me toxic when you keep sending your minions to send me negative comments for a community event that I'm trying to promote that's nonprofit for the community? How is it not hypocritical that you talk about uniting the community, but you're kicking out other event organizers who are just trying to figure out what the hell is going on? How is it not hypocritical that you don't give me due process, lie to me twice about how you're going to handle the situation, not even try to figure out what was going on, and then just ban me, and on top of all of that, say it's my fault? When I called Senju in Japan out for all of this, all he said was, he basically said, your problems are your own, which the only problems I was having was with him and his server. Your problems are your own. And I know Senju has been very indirect, but it's because he's refused to give people enough respect to actually communicate with them, and because he's refused to look into the problem, yet he claims to be the de facto leader of that server, that I am targeting him and also Perfect Record, who failed to handle this in any way professionally. Yeah, his wording might have been professional, but how he acted about it and how he lied to me and the community has been anything but. They refuse to move on from it. If they really did want to move on from this, they would have just tried to ease things, try to, explain things to the community, try to explain how we could, because I'm the one that wanted to make things go better. I'm the one that wanted to just have a truce and get this over with, retract everything we went through and move on. But they are the ones holding a grudge. Who has uncontrolled pride now? This is ridiculous. All because I reacted to me being unjustifiably banned. When after everything I've put in for the community. And all the criticism that I'm getting is not even from people who know anything that's happening. They don't know anything about me. They don't know anything about our conflict together. What you see is just the outburst, the negativity that's been spilling over from this situation, from this very serious situation. So, to the people who are accusing me of being toxic, to the people who are attacking me, and all this bullshit that's not supposed to be happening to either one of us, really. How do you justify the fact that Senju in Japan lied about letting me in a server with a second account only to ban me again because it was obviously a trap? How do you justify how do you justify the fact that I was banned from a server I was never even active in, and to this day Perfect Record refuses to tell me who did it or doesn't even care? How do you justify the fact that they told me that I can come back despite this whole misunderstanding, only to say, oops, we accidentally kicked you, we really meant to ban you, and then ban me for no reason despite finally having the tension settle down? How do you justify the fact that all these Senju stans are attacking my YouTube channel and Discord when all I'm trying to do is promote my channel, and I haven't even mentioned this before this video, just so that they can be toxic themselves while preaching that I'm the one being toxic? The contradictions, the hypocrisy is insane. It is really hilarious, and it's why I can't even take this seriously anymore, and why it's only natural the community is dealing with toxicity and dealing with bullcrap. Which brings me to my final target here, Traitor. Traitor, 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 traitor. Traitor. Man, you really shouldn't have made those videos. It's really funny to me how you're making all these videos against toxicity and you're pointing out certain groups of people and categorizing them, while also in a shady, low-key, two-faced way targeting them in your videos without their permission, and that would be me, while also preaching that there shouldn't be toxicity. Like, do you not see that the videos, these type of videos you're making, are only making things worse? Or is it because you saw that this is profitable, that this is gonna get you some views, so you went for it? Either way, what you did, that video you made against me, that was uncalled for. Also, you lied about the fact that the video was not aimed at me. You claimed that it's not aimed at me, but you clearly made it about me from the way you made the thumbnail about Inosuke, and the fact that you pointed out our argument in the comments section. And even though you said that many other people are involved in that video and that that video targets many other people, the fact of the matter is it literally only targets me, as you've listed only me out of all these so-called comments you were talking about. I don't understand why you did that. I was a fan ever since I started this whole thing, and you know, whenever your name was brought up, I always praised it. But no, you just had to be a Senju stan who doesn't care about looking into the story, and it's just a bandwagon. You made a video against me talking about toxicity in the community. Again, who are you to call me toxic? You know, it's ridiculous, man. Like, what? Who are you to call me toxic? And the comments, if you don't like the comments that I'm having on your videos, if that's what this is about, then maybe you shouldn't make these videos that press these type of buttons, because I'm not the only one dealing with this situation. You're going out of your way to talk about uniting everyone, but you're categorizing different people into different labels under what is your impression of how they reacted to things. And even if it is correct, it's not making things better. Do you not understand what I mean by that? Because I'm not the only one dealing with this. I'm not the only one who unjustifiably got banned by Senju in Japan and that whole server. There's a whole bunch of people that are dealing with this, and it's only a matter of time before this video gains more weight as more time passes and the truth comes out. Like this is ridiculous. The only reason I'm being villainized and everything is, you know, all my words are against me, rather than, you know, me trying to explain what's going on and actually getting listened to, is because you, along with Perfect Record and Senju, have a higher following than me. That's all that it is. You have a higher following than me, so more numbers of people are going to believe him than they are going to believe me. That doesn't mean that you are 100% correct, and it does not mean that what you're doing is justified, and it doesn't mean that just because people are overwhelming me with numbers that I am wrong about what I'm talking about. With that being said, that video you made was uncalled for. A lot of the videos you're making was very misleading, but you know what, man? Speaking of toxicity, you said it yourself.
I honestly regret being a toxic piece of shit. I have contributed to the negativity back in the days.
Wow, well, isn't that funny? Wonder why you're not banned from the Demon Slayer community, even though you just admitted you were even more toxic than I was, considering you've been here for longer. Next time you put me in one of your videos, make sure you get my permission and expect that I'm gonna fire back. This is ridiculous. You're so hypocritical to make such a video. It's really ridiculous. And if you don't want me to keep commenting on your aggravating videos, then stop making aggravating videos for people to comment on. You're doing this on purpose, man. Like, how it's pretty obvious you're doing this on purpose. But again, there's always the stands. There's always those cult-like following that don't care to read beneath the surface or to wake up to what's going on. They just want to go after the hype. And then what happens when the hype dies down? Everybody turns into a cannibal, and the community eats itself within. Demon Slayer is headed down the same path. I'm sorry if that sounds shocking and sad to you, and you don't have to take my word for it or take me seriously or like me, but I did point out some very good points here. At the end of the day, everybody messed up. Me, them, every single body here messed up. And when it comes to people who want to move on and make things better for the community, I'm one of those people, but I am not given that option. I can only do my best. We will continue to hold the Demon Slayer Fatal series because that was the original plan. If it fails, oh well, that's really on the community and the community's loss. I'm not going to spend any more money on this whole thing because I need money to live. So I'm going to try to just keep the content, as easygoing as possible until we can get this whole thing figured out, because something tells me that after I release this video, they're not going to let it go, because Senju, Perfect Record, and Trader, they're not so much, well, I would just say the first two. Trader's is just a momentary, like a temporary situation right now, but I would say Senju and Perfect Record, they're not trying to bring the community together. They're trying to monopolize the whole thing. And I know I'm using that word a little too loosely there, but that's what it looks like to me and to a lot of other people, because that seems to be the only major server anybody can go to be a part of the Demon Slayer game community, as the other servers have already turned toxic or are too small. So, and that's not to say that's going to happen to that server too at this rate, but with that being said, Perfect Record in Senju, Japan, are not trying to come to an understanding. They're trying to make an example out of people. They're trying to basically live the dictator role, and if you go against them, you're out. That's why everybody has to have a forced smile in that Discord server, and nobody can really have a true opinion about what they want to do or anything about the game without it being criticized in such a hard way. So, yeah, that's the truth behind that. Because if they did want to move on, if they did want to patch things over, they would basically address these mistakes that they made. They would address that they unjustifiably banned me twice, maybe 3 times, and they would figure out a way to help me promote things for the community so that the community can benefit and so that we can move on from this. But clearly that's not the case. And they expect me to just roll over and not defend myself or say anything. And I'm probably not the best at doing this in any possible way. This video is probably sloppy, but at the end of the day, that's what happened. I tried to explain everything that's happened, and considering how big and complex the situation is that's been going on for a month now, I'm pretty sure I didn't leave anything out. So this is where we are now. I'm still getting attacked by that community. I'm still fighting back, and I'm still trying to promote Storm 4 Road to Demon Slayer and any Demon Slayer content that's coming ahead of time. So Senju, look, man, I'm still willing to move on. I'm willing to put that to the test, because you and Perfect Record keep saying we can move on from this. We can all eat. We can all become better from this. Well, I want to put that to the test, because as long as your followers keep attacking me, I have to fire back to defend myself. I can't just sit there and take criticism that is not true about me and take all these lies and contradictory things that people don't even know what they're talking about because they haven't been in the situation. I can't take all that criticism, and you can't just expect me to not say anything back, because we both know if I just do that, then I won't have a place in this community. And despite all the the views that I have on me, I do have a place in this community, whether they like it or not, and it's up to them whether they accept me or not. But also at the same time, it's not up to them whether I leave or not. And I'm never going to leave. I know a lot of people want me to, but I'm never going to quit this. I'm going to keep going with this, because I am a reflection of what the community is. At the end of the day, even if I am inexperienced or a little bit late, or I'm a little bit behind, or I'm not really the best at doing this, I am a reflection of the entire community. And the community doesn't like that. But hey, maybe the community needs to reevaluate itself. Maybe the leaders of that community, who are turning an otherwise very playful, very good community into a toxic one, maybe those leaders need to reevaluate how they approach situations and how they approach other people, because they sure as hell don't do this to anybody who has a higher following than them. They are obviously displaying a whole lot of arrogance here. And, despite all, all the unwavering, odd dedication that Senju has, the fact of the matter is there's a lot of people who still see that he's displaying a whole lot of arrogance without trying to actually come to an understanding with anyone. And to just say that, to pin all of this on me for being frustrated because of it, when all I did was come in with open arms as much as everybody else, is childish and contradictory and hypocritical. I owned up to my mistakes. Where is everybody else owning up to theirs? Because I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I think this settles it. Everyone, at the end of the day, the moral of this story is everyone made a mistake, but I do not have misplaced reactions. I do not have misplaced reactions, and I will refuse to roll over to this bullshit when it's pretty obvious that whatever mistakes I made in this whole thing pale in comparison to how the community, how the leaders, how everybody has handled it. You don't want to promote Storm 4? It's your loss. You don't want to promote Demon Slayer? It's your loss. You're only hurting the community, and you're only causing more hypocritical claim. You're only being hypocritical to what you're preaching about. So, I never asked for money. I never asked for a huge following. I never really cared about that. I just always wanted everybody to show up and support the game. And what have I gotten for that? A false reputation, a accusation of something I didn't do, of something I'm not, and community leaders who are very toxic and lying to other content creators in order to get their way. That's all I got for that. So I'm a team player all the way through. Despite all of this, I'm going to do what is best for everybody. And this short fuse that you saw from me in the past, those angry outbursts, they're gone now. Because I did learn a lot from this whole thing. But the question is, no matter how much I move on from this, no matter how much I try to make things better, will everybody else do the same? Because so far I have not gotten any indication from that, and nobody, I just hear crickets. Nobody has an answer to that either. And to this day, I don't have an answer for the things I called out on people that they know they did wrong. So now you have both sides of the story. If you still choose to be one-sided about it, then you're part of the problem, not the solution. And now we've established what toxicity really is. A toxic person is a troll or somebody who doesn't care about the game, somebody who's just in there to cause chaos on purpose. When chaos is a product of a tense circumstance that is happening between two passionate people or two passionate groups about the game, that's not toxicity. That's a calamity. You people need to understand what's really going on here. You need to open up your eyes and stop falling for the hype so fast. You need to take a moment and actually think and breathe about this whole situation. That's something we can all agree on. Like, I'm sure even if you disagree with most of what I said in this video, there are things we can agree on in this video. And that's what I'm trying to draw a common ground to. Trust me, believe me, I'm the one that's trying to smooth things over. I'm the one that's trying to make things better. Other powers that be are not allowing that. But I wonder, if I had a bigger following, how things would have panned out. Who really would have moved on and who really would have proved that they've got what it takes to bring the community together. With that being said, at some point I have to do what I need to do to survive and, stop getting hurt. So I do care about the community to a certain extent, and that extent is if it seems like the community is harming me by, if it seems like I'm getting harmed by supporting the community, then I'm just going to have to try to support the game and try to support the positivity in that community rather than the entire community itself. And that's what I'm trying to focus on right now. Now, one would argue that if you really know me, one would argue that all of this was an extension of the tension that's been happening between me and the Storm community for a while now. I'm gonna go ahead and say that is not true. Now, we can go on all day about how Storm is toxic and how the game has fallen apart, but other people have beaten me to that. I'm sure we already know, we're all on the same page there. Like, you know, the game is old, mechanics are going down, toxic players, blah 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 blah. But let's go back to what happened. When I first started the Naruto Fatal series, it was because I was passionate about the anime and I was passionate about the game. I had so much respect for Masashi Kishimoto and the message that Naruto was trying to send as a character. And at the time, I was trying to promote my channel, but I was also trying to keep the game alive since I was sensing that it was dying and that it was old. Hence my promo tournaments that were non-profit that I kept going for that whole year while I was trying to promote the whole season. But things didn't go well. We dealt with hackers and trolls and a lot of toxicity, way more dense toxicity than anything Demon Slayer is showing right now, although it's too early to call, you know, considering the way it's headed. But with that being said, we managed to push through despite all the technical difficulties, the internet dropouts, the hacks, the lack of support from the community leaders in Storm. Despite all of that, and despite our technological shortcomings, and despite, you know, our terrible editing and all of that, we managed to push through until we got around the June-July period of the season, around 4th or 5th tournament. That's when I started to deal with negativity from the community for trying to support it. People in the Ultimate Storm Discord, including some of the leaders there, namely Xavadeth, was attacking me for simply trying to promote my event and trying to, you know, get it done and over with. They didn't like that it was dragging on for 5 months, so they started being toxic about it. But it wasn't my fault it was dragging on for that long. People weren't showing up despite preaching that they're always going to show up for every event to support the game and to keep the community alive. So I was seeing a lot of situations where otherwise dedicated people in the community were lying to me about helping with collaborations or doing certain tasks that I invested time and money in to do with them. And I'm not going to name drop anybody here because a lot has happened between a lot of people these past year, but long story short, I was lied to by the Storm community. And again, I don't care how you interpret this. I'm not going to be as detailed about this as I was with Demon Slayer, because Demon Slayer, I needed to explain that. But this is something we already just are way past at this point. We've already come to a resolution, and I'm over it, man. I'm exhausted. I am exhausted. I am not enjoying this. Do you understand that, people? Isn't it weird to you that somebody who's into this that much is not enjoying it and is trying to desperately make it work? How is that somebody who is toxic? Like, it's amazing to me how apathetic both of these communities have been. CyberConnect, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's Discord to blame or the way you make games and assign certain communities to be the leader of that game. I don't know what it is about you, CyberConnect, but I'm sorry you're dealing with this, and I hope you're able to do better yourself, because there's room for improvement for you yourself as a game developer. But that's a whole other conversation for later. Back to Storm. We've already established things are iffy, but I got screwed over a lot. I got lied to a lot, and over time, the same people that claim to have supported me, including some of the competitors that won some of the prize money in the season, over time, they started showing me negative reactions. After winning prizes in my tournament and entering it for free, they started to show me negative reactions for simply trying to pull this thing off and not, you know, having a successful turnout with it. Now, to be fair, I did have an outburst in the server, because after realizing that many people were lying to me about certain things and about certain promises they made, I decided to just call out the entire server. Now, that was not a good move. I'm not going to lie. That was back in the short fuse days. And, yeah, it didn't go well. People did not like that I had an outburst about the fact that people are not showing up. But at the same time, it was mostly aimed at the people who lied to me and were clearly going out of their way to be toxic about the fact that I'm just trying to host an event to support the community. It's like all the money I spent and time and effort I put into it meant nothing to these people, yet they were showing up for every other Storm event like it was nothing and claiming that, they're there for the community. The thing that was the most frustrating and aggravating about this is that I made the mistake of believing that the community is really trying to unite itself when that's clearly not the case from the way it's been acting, and believing that and choosing to invest in it. That was my mistake in this whole thing. I got frustrated when I figured out that the community really doesn't care about that. It's a big fish, small fish. It's sad. It's really sad to put it this way, but it's a big fish eats small fish world in the CyberConnect community world. It really is. Because if it wasn't, I would have had the support that I needed to finally end this whole thing, considering it would have only been a plus for everybody involved. And, it was free entry. So it's like, why did this fail? To this day, I don't know this question, to answer to that question. And like I said, a lot of people chalk up the answer to that question to everything I just mentioned. But I also do feel like things could have gone better had everybody been a little bit less toxic about it. And my reaction to it did not help at all. In a way, Storm transformed me into this content creator and gamer that I never wanted to be, that I never would like to ever be again. And this is my revelation from that. This is it. I have had it. I am done being mad. I have proven my point. I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one who's making these arguments and these pleas. If you really want to unite the community, if you really want to unite everyone, then just stop the bullshit. You know what you're doing. Everybody is to blame here, and everybody's being shady. Everybody's hiding something they should not hide. And I'm trying to fix that about myself, and I would like to argue that I've done a better job of it than anybody else, considering how passionate I've been about this whole thing and how apathetic the majority has. That's not to say that there aren't other people out there like me. I just mentioned that there are, but we're so few in number that it's not gonna save the community. I'm not saying I'm the only hero here either. Like I said, I am also to blame. I'm also to blame in this whole thing, but again, nowhere near as much as what I've been dealing with. Most of my negativity has been reactionary. I didn't instigate anything. I'm proud to say that I'm not the one who instigated any of this. I'm done. We're gonna finish the Naruto Fatal series. We're at the 8th tournament, and then we're gonna have the finals in December. Despite all the stupid odds we've had and all the difficulties we shouldn't have had, we are finally here. We're finally going to finish the Naruto Fatal series. To all of those who have just been waiting on me to fail, screw you, I win. Because I did get to help out the community. We gave out... Hey Siri, wait, hold on. What's 25 times 16? 25 times 16. I'm too lazy right now.
The answer is 400.
We've given out $400 in money prizes for the promo tournaments. We're about to give out another $400 for the Naruto Fatal series. $800 non-profit going towards the Naruto Storm community alone. And we were planning on having a $1,000 season for Demon Slayer Fatal series. I don't know if we're still going to be able to pull that off, but we'll still try to promote it. It all depends on how the community wants to approach this. It all depends on whether the community really wants more for itself. Because this is bigger than me. That's the other thing. Everyone's trying to pin this on me, not realizing this is bigger than any of us. And if you really are somebody who cares about the bigger picture, then you need to look past all of this and try to ask yourself and to really think about what we're trying to represent here. Because the Naruto Fatal series, the Fatal series in general, their mission is really about helping the community. It used to be also uniting the community, but at this point, all we care about is throwing a bone to the community. Whether it unites or not is no longer something that we feel like we have any control of. But other people who claim to have control of it, who seem to have control of it, are doing a terrible job of uniting that community. That's not something that is to be argued. That's the truth. So how they address that, I don't know. But with that being said, we did pull off the Naruto Fatal series. We are going to pull off the Naruto Fatal series. December, it's going down between the 8. We only need one more finalist. We've got Pleiko Iron Boy, Shikurai 7. We've got Star Zero Tachi. We've got Grosh James. we've got Illegal 2 Billionaire, we've got Soul Demon, and now we've got Sorcery Specialist. We only need one more. So Naruto's already taken care of. I release all the overdue content after the season's over and take my sweet time with that. So we pulled it off. We pulled it off. And I didn't do it alone. It was because the community gave me the support that I needed to. Yes, I am the one that founded this whole thing, but it doesn't mean anything at this point. Yet people try to pin that on me or take the credit for themselves whenever it's convenient for them. They either try to make it seem like whenever something goes wrong that, hey, I'm the one that started this, I'm the one that founded this, so I should take all the weight of it. Or if it's something that I'm doing successfully, that they should take credit for being the ones to promote it. It's just, no, that's not how things work. Like, it's so childish that people are not, they're not thinking this through. They're not being any more open-minded than they claim me to be. So, with that being said, what now for Demon Slayer? Senju, I was making a plea earlier and I didn't get to finish it, so I'm gonna make it now. Let's just move on from this, man. Let's just move on from this. Trader, take your video down about me and I'll take down the comments. It's that simple. You don't make a video about me and expect me not to comment. Perfect Record, look, man, I know your intentions were great at first, but you handled the situation in a rough way. Let's just move on. Help me recover from this, from, the negativity that this spurred, if you really do care about the community. Let's show the community that we have the power to come together and get over our differences, and that will really empower it. But the thing is, that is my intention now. Don't expect me to stop commenting on your content or, fighting back or, commenting on the issue if you're not trying to address this. Because in your mind, this is over. In your mind, you're just going to leave me with this negativity and get over it. But what you don't realize is that in the long run, this is going to hurt everybody, not just me. And on top of all that, you could do better. You could have handled the situation much better, and I'm sure even you can admit that. So Senju, Perfect Record, whatever I said so far has, even if it looks like it, is not exactly personal. It's about as personal as it gets for this circumstance, but it's not like, I'm cursing you to hell every single day. Yeah, I did say things like I do hate you, but it's after I started getting the blatant disrespect that I was getting from you guys about the situation. Because being negligent is just as bad as being abusive in this whole thing. So, again, I really do want things to be better. I really do hope the day comes where we can work together, where things can improve. And because you can't just leave it like this, man. It's only going to get worse if you just leave it like this. And if your argument is I'm not the one trying to move on from this, that I'm the one escalating this, that's just simply not true. Because I tried leaving it alone. I tried promoting it on my own. I tried doing it all on my own after this whole thing happened, and I've only gotten nothing but negativity. So your claims about the fact that I can do this on my own, that I don't need the community, is just, again, it doesn't make any sense. We're all in this together, and whether you like me or not, that's the truth. And whether you have me kicked out of the server or not, I am a part of this community. I've invested enough in it to prove that. Who are you to decide that I'm not? Who are you to decide that I should be banned, just because of me being frustrated because of the situation? Like, even after I went back to the server, I tried to make things, go a little bit better, but you wouldn't even give me the chance to do that. So, this is a direct message to you. Trader, take down your video. I take down my comments. I say nice things about you. It's that simple. Perfect Record, tell the truth to everyone. Tell them that I deserve a second chance and an actual due process, and that my overreaction, even though it was not justified, that it was not misplaced, and that there were some wrong way. It was wrong how the moderators handled the situation. Tell them that, and at the very least, you would have said the truth and done your job. Senju, talk to me, man. DMs, not gonna attack you, not trying to make this any more public than it already is, but you can't expect me to just roll over and take this negligence from you when A, you didn't bother looking into the issue, and B, when you did, you didn't treat it right, and C, you're now villainizing me to everyone. So, including Trader, who, from what I can tell, used to be a supporter before all of this. But then again, you can't just make a video about people when they had their opinion about something on your very contradictory, very passive-aggressive videos and expect them to not say anything. Like, it's just not, it's ridiculous, man. And you've already said it yourselves. There's other toxicity going on in the community. You've said it yourself, Perfect Record. Dark Phoenix is not fit to be a moderator. You've all admitted a bunch of faults and mistakes you've made yourself. I've owned up to my mistakes, but I don't think I could say the same about any of you. Again, it's not a diss. And if any, I don't care how anybody interprets this video, but none of this is meant to be a diss. I'm trying to come to an understanding here, and I'm having a hard time putting it into words because you people are so suffocating about this whole situation. So this is my last piece about this. And Storm, sorry things didn't turn out very well. I'm hoping we can finish out strong here since we did manage to get this far. So, Storm, hopefully we can catch each other on better terms in the future. And I do wish the best for the game, despite all the hell that it put me through. I wish the best for both games, despite all the hell that it put me through. So, yeah, expect a Demon Slayer story playthrough in just a little bit. Expect a bunch of content that I'm gonna be doing on my own with the Naruto Fatal Series production team in just a moment. So Godspeed, and I hope I can get through this. I hope we all can get through this, because like I said, even if this video doesn't make sense now or it seems stupid to you, in due time it will bear more weight. And a lot of you know exactly what I'm talking about. A lot of you know I'm not that off. At the end of the day, everybody is not 100% correct about what's going on. Anyway, even Senju, who seems to be so knowledgeable about the game, come on now, let's be real. He's slipped every now and then. I'm not the only one that points it out. We're not out to get him, but he's alienating himself from other people who have just as much of a place to be a community leader, to the point that he's making it kind of hard to communicate with him, and he's giving us the wrong impressions. At least that's the way I would like to look at it. I would hate to think he's doing this on purpose. I really would, but he's not giving us much of a choice here. He's not giving us much context. So I hope this can give you some perspective, Senju. I hope this can give everybody some perspective, and I hope I was able to explain the situation more clearly. It's hard trying to do that considering how much this has been influencing me, but this is it. This is the only video I'll make about it. It's about an hour long. This shouldn't be happening. I'll see you guys on Twitch. I'll see you guys in my other videos. Keep the comments nice. Stop the toxicity. It's funny that I'm the one being pegged as toxic when I'm the only one fighting for myself here. And I'm getting all these comments and, you know, statistics and all that bad statistics from people who are not even looking into the situation, when my videos are just trying to help, you know, promote content for the game and the community. This is the only video I made, you know, talking about any issues. So for the sake of hypocrisy, of not being hypocritical, and for the sake of actually not being toxic, if you don't have anything nice to say about my content, which is there for the community, which is about the game and the community, besides this video, then just don't watch it. Don't hang around. I don't care. This is Mad Hog Gaming. It's not anime gaming. It's not Demon Slayer gaming. It's not, you know, it's not Naruto gaming. It's a channel that's going to cover all kinds of genres and topics and games, and eventually CyberConnect will be a thing of the past for me. how it chooses to make, how the community for CyberConnect chooses to make an impression for itself that will stay there as my career grows, and how it perceives my support for it is up to it, because it will be set in stone for a long time. And as I move on to other genres and other games, and hopefully I succeed because of that, because I can't imagine having this much hell with any other type of genre or any other type of game. And if I can survive this, then I can do anything else. But considering I move on from this, it's up to CyberConnect whether it gives itself a good look or not, because all that stuff will be molded in there. It will stay in there, and it will be set in stone for good. Like, you guys get what I'm saying. It's all about the impressions you guys leave. Whether you think someone is significant or not, at the end of the day, you want to try to make as much of a good impression with everybody as much as possible. That's a lesson I learned that was very important to me throughout this whole thing, because I did film it to make a good impression with everybody. I made a good impression with half the people I worked with, but I failed to make a good impression with everybody and try to patch things over with everybody. Because at the end of the day, everybody I had conflicts with had a legitimate issue. Well, not everybody. Most 90% of the people I had conflict with had a legitimate issue to why we're having this conflict. Whether they're right or wrong about it is left up to perception and to how it was judged and settled at the end. But with that being said, I did wish things were better, because if you don't have everybody on your boat, then you're not the captain of the ship. You have to have everybody in this whole thing. Nobody left behind. You can't leave a single person behind. And that's the thing about this community. It's so diverse and so alienating that everybody, one way or another, gets left behind at some point. And that is the source, the root of all the toxicity that is happening in this community. Take it from somebody who's dealt with it firsthand, who came in without even knowing what was going on. So that's enough rambling. I will see you guys later, and catch me on them Demon Slayer servers with Inosuke dual wield. I'm gonna come in like the angry boar that I am and take over the whole battlefield. So that is it. I'm glad I got this off my chest. I really do. It feels like a huge weight lifted. And I'm only hoping for better days from here. And whether things succeed or fail, we're simply just going to move on and trudge forward no matter what. Whatever becomes of it, and that becomes what's set in the history books. At the end of the day, I did my part, and I'm proud of that. And my time here is done. Like, not my time here in this whole thing, but my time here as far as somebody who has to prove their worth in the community. I already did that. Whether people agree with it or not, or whether the majority is mad at my frustration because of it, is none of my concern. But I am trying to be better. I am trying to have a longer fuse. I am trying to move on. And I do wish the best for the community, despite everything I said, all the outbursts that I had, and all the negativity that's been happening because of it with everybody else. So, I'll see you later, Shinobi. I'll see you later, Slayers. I hope you have a great day. I hope you have a better day than I have been having.